Want to watch football without the restrictions of blackouts or cable? Check out expressvpn.com to help you get access to all the live games. Sign up today using the link in the description to get 3 free months. Yo, what up, Bolt fam? It's the Director. Chargers fans, how we feeling after yesterday, man? First round of the NFL draft. Did we make out good, dudes? I think I'm feeling pretty dang good, dude. Yesterday helped the Chargers, bolster this already impressive list of offseason moves. They did it again, man. With the 17th pick, the Los Angeles Chargers select Zion Johnson. I think the dude's got Pro Bowl upside in his first season, man. But that's just me. I'm all about this pick. But you know what? Initially, during the live stream, which was awesome, by the way, we're doing day 2 tonight, guys. Make sure you do not miss that. But initially in the chat, right, I did see some pushback in terms of selecting Zion Johnson 17th overall. You know what? I totally get it, all right? Offensive line, not the sexiest pick in the world, but it does make a whole lot of sense, especially for this team who had a need on the right side of that offensive line, dude. So I want to get my reaction to this selection on today's video while also kind of helping people find some optimism in why Zion Johnson, in my opinion, was such a slam dunk. I as well do want to go over some players that I would love to see in day 2 for the Chargers in the NFL draft. Of course, be there tonight. It's going to be live with us again. We had 2,000 people in the chat yesterday. I hope to see a nice number of Chargers fans being excited for the day 2 selections. I will also add to that there's a lot of evidence, in my opinion, to suggest that the Chargers may be trade-up candidates in day 2. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to be there during the entire draft. It should be a lot of fun. So my question to you guys in terms of trading up, would you be willing to trade up into the second round if it were to cost us a second round pick next season? Let me know if that would be worth it to you. Well, let's get started with this one, man. Before we do, hit us up with a like and sub. If you do enjoy this Chargers content, small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into this one. Lights, camera, action. My best day 2 players of the 2022 NFL Draft for the Chargers, as well as my Zion Johnson reaction selection in round 1. Let's go actually start with that, right? Zion Johnson, the destroyer of evil. Oh, I'm so about this pick, man. Okay, we took an offensive lineman. This is very, very, very good. Okay, I know, again, not the sexiest pick, but let's think about who was on board. We had Raimann Johnson, who had an epic slide into, the mid-20s to the Jets. Man, the Jets really hit such a slam dunk all over the board yesterday. I think they are the winners of round 1. But we also had Raimann Johnson and Trent McDuffie still on the board, okay? I took a step back and really thought about this, too, because I will say I was very high on Trent McDuffie. He was kind of my guy, right? For the Chargers at pick 17, felt he really did fit this scheme. He ends up going to the Chiefs. I die a little bit inside. I go in the bathroom. I cry a little bit. I come back. We're back on stream. Things are back to normal. I was really upset that Trent McDuffie slipped through our fingers and ended up in the Chiefs' hands. However, you take a step back and you think about it. Raimann Johnson, who went to the Jets, was at best, the 3rd or 4th best edge in this class, right? Trent McDuffie was, again, at best, the 3rd or 4th best corner in this draft. To me, Zion Johnson is without a doubt the best interior offensive lineman in this class. I do think I was pretty high on Kenyon Green about a month ago as well, but 2 or 3 weeks ago, it definitely shifted. Zion Johnson, without a doubt, is the highest upside, the most talented, the most NFL-ready interior offensive lineman of this class, and the Chargers made a very smart move by selecting him with the 17th overall pick. There was talk about maybe trading down, but I do think you don't want to risk that, right? You want to grab the best player available at a position of need. You don't want to risk him slipping through your fingers if you were to trade down. So this, to me, was a very, very good selection. Now, Zion, again, one of the most NFL-ready players in this draft. Some analysts even went as far to say Zion was ranked as their 5th best player overall this year. That's pretty high. And I think it comes down to positional value, right? We saw a lot of, outside guys, tackles taken well before Zion Johnson. Of course, right tackle, left tackle viewed as a lot more valuable than interior offensive line. But you know what? these guys are valuable too. And all this does, if you're a team, let's say in the middle of the first round, what it does is that it pushes down these guys to a point where, yes, they can be considered a value at pick 17. You may not be getting the best right tackle, you may not be getting the best left tackle, but you're sure as heck getting the best interior offensive lineman. And for a team like the Chargers, that is an insane value when you really do think about it. Zion Johnson's going to provide some insane value to this run and pass game. He's definitely, without a doubt, one of the best players that could have fallen to us at pick number 17. He's incredibly smart, strong, well-built for the position. There's no other prospect that we could have drafted that carries more Pro Bowl potential in year one. It kind of does feel a lot like Rashawn Slater all over again. And yes, again, last season, Rashawn Slater, offensive lineman, maybe not the sexiest pick, but wow, did that guy show up, dude. And I do think that in terms of like what he brings to the game, Zion Johnson does feel a lot like Rashawn Slater, but at a little bit of a different position, right? This is very good, man. A slam dunk in my opinion. Just take a look at this line, man. I put this together like I always do. What this team kind of looks like now with the addition of our first round selection. This line is absolutely insane. Look left to right. Slater, Filer, Lindsley, Johnson. This is wild. This is without a doubt like the best offensive line that I've seen for the Chargers in my time as a fan. Yes, right tackle is still going to be an issue, but we have heard, there has been confirmation that we are looking into that position either via the draft or free agency, and we'll get more to that in just a second, right? This line looks absolutely wild. The Chargers have taken a weakness from, 2 seasons ago and turned him into, like, I would say at this point, if the Chargers can get a nice right tackle, we have a top 5 offensive line in the league. That's how good this is, and that's how big of an impact Zion Johnson's going to make. It kind of reminds me of when the Colts took, who was it, Quentin Nelson, right? A little bit high in the first round. Maybe some people gave him a hard time about that, right? But Nelson has been a huge part of that team's success. I think Jonathan Taylor's success, specifically the running back, his success is due largely in part to that offensive line. If you play fantasy football, you know how high Jonathan Taylor's going to be going in next season's draft. I feel like we got a huge value at pick 17. And we made a statement as well. Zion Johnson, we talk about the rippling effect, the butterfly effect on this channel a lot by selecting certain players. I feel like the biggest butterfly effect or ripple effect you can get from adding any player at any position is going to be in the trenches, both on offense and defense. On defense, you're going to help affect, your defensive line, your linebackers, and your defense backs every single level. On offense, the same thing can be said. Zion Johnson is going to provide more space for Austin Eckler to get free. More space for him to operate on the ground, right? The Chargers needed a lot of help in that run game, especially to the right side. That's primarily, where you're feeling to, bolster your strengths is to help your right side of the line to help your run game. The Zion Johnson effect is already going to help that. Zion Johnson, one of the best pass protectors at the interior offensive line position, is going to keep Justin Herbert upright. He's going to help buy more time for our wide receivers, our vertical weapons to get open. Zion Johnson, again, the butterfly effect is going to affect every level of this offense. And at this, again, one of the most intelligent picks that you can get. And we also did make a statement in that we are going to protect Justin Herbert. It's probably the biggest thing I love about this pick. The Chargers struck gold in 2020 with Justin Herbert. That just never happens. And so what the Chargers are doing by selecting Zion Johnson is saying, hey, you know what? We're going to protect our investment. We're going to protect this, unicorn of a quarterback and make sure that he is protected going forward. I left a comment, I think, on one of the Chargers official YouTube page yesterday after the selection. I went into one of their Zion Johnson videos, and I left a comment saying something like this, right? In terms of like a nautical reference. Firing a cannon on rough seas is difficult. We just stamped Justin Herbert a ticket for smooth sailing to league MVP. And does Justin Herbert have a cannon? Am I right? This is big, man. We invested in Justin Herbert. He is definitely the heart and soul of what makes this offense work, and you just invested in him even further by selecting a guy like Zion Johnson. I'm all about this pick. Lastly, before we move on from Zion, dude, I do want to make an example here that, or I do want to say that this is a very good example of best player available while also going for need, right? Zion Johnson, without a doubt, was one of the best players available still on the board, the best player at his position, while also addressing a huge position of need on the right side of that line. I know it wasn't right tackle, but this, in turn, whoever we bring in for right tackle is going to benefit so much from Zion Johnson, I promise you. So the Chargers really hit the nail on the head. Best player available, also a position of need. Kind of, again, feels like Rashawn Slater last season. The Chargers do, again, only have one weakness on the offensive line now, which is right tackle. That is going to be fixed, right? If people are still wondering about Matt Filer kicking out to right tackle, I will say that during a press conference yesterday, Brandon Staley and Tom Telesco did mention that Matt Filer more than likely is going to be remaining the left guard, which again is a great idea. You don't want to disturb the synergy, the chemistry that you have on the left side of that line, especially considering that the left side of the line is probably a little bit more important in protecting your pass or your quarterback. I think that's a fine move. Now, at the moment, Storm and Pipkins are current guys at right tackle, but this will more than likely be addressed either in the draft or in free agency. And I do think Brandon Staley did confirm this in his press conference as well. So don't worry about that, guys. That's why I put a little, question mark guy up there instead of Storm Norton at the right tackle position, because I do fully expect the Chargers to add another guy here very shortly to address right tackle. Guys, and the last thing I want to say about the selection of Zion Johnson. We have been harping since the Phillip Rivers days to rebuild the offensive line. And we're almost there. This line is almost complete. It looks very impressive. Gone are the days of Phillip Rivers running for his life. Even Justin Herbert's rookie season running for his life. This is investing in your quarterback. And I wish so much with all my heart that we did the same thing for Rivers back in the day. But it's finally here. By the help of, we could say, Brandon Staley, Tom Telesco working together. Who knows? We are almost there. We are a right tackle away from being a top 5, top 3 offensive line in the NFL. So really quickly, I know there's going to be a lot of comments about right tackle, so I'm going to really quickly kind of go over this. Who's the man at right tackle for the Chargers? If we're going to bring somebody in, who should it be? Now, in my opinion, the Chargers more than likely get a veteran right tackle to come in next to their rookie right guard. Okay, I think it would be a little bit risky to bring in a rookie to play next to another rookie, if that makes sense. Okay, and the Chargers do have $18 million. Of course, it's going to be a much smaller figure once we have the rookie budget put in there and then the offseason budget put in. But we do have money to spend, and there's still guys out there in free agency that the Chargers could sign the day after the draft. We're talking Darrell Williams, Riley Reif, Dennis Kelly. These are all guys that are big upgrades over Storm Norton. Okay, if it's, let's say, the biggest budget, I would say, beast on this list is Dennis Kelly, who you see here on the list. Very decent pass protector. This would be a huge upgrade for the Chargers, and this line would look, again, even just with Dennis Kelly, would look like one of the best in the NFL. Okay, and what's funny is that most of the time you bring in a veteran to help out your rookie, right? And in this case, definitely that's going to happen. But also, this circumstance also tells us that a guy like Dennis Kelly would benefit a lot from playing next to our rookie, Zion Johnson. That's how good Zion Johnson is, guys. That's why I'm excited. Now, the Chargers could also certainly bring in a guy via the draft in order to address this position of right tackle too, but we'll circle back to that because I do want to get into my day 2 hype and targets for day 2 in the NFL draft, okay? And right tackle, if that is the plan, there are some options there as well. Again, I think I'm edging more on the side of a veteran, but this could certainly be in the cards for the Chargers too. Right tackle. All right, Bernard Raimann, Daniel Failele, Abraham Lucas, Nicholas Fair, and Max Mitchell. These are guys that the Chargers could be targeting at right tackle this season. Now, if it were me and I went out and got one of these right tackles, I still sign a veteran and see what happens in camp, right? That could definitely give you the best chance at seeing, who's going to work well together. The chemistry, is it there? And can the rookies handle the right side on their own? All right, but these are the guys that I would be targeting in day 2. And this would really help complete this roster, again, in terms of that offensive line is looking awesome. There's really no position, maybe outside a linebacker a little bit, that I'm feeling any stress about in terms of do we have the right guys in there, okay? Now, guys like Bernard Raimann, maybe even Abraham Lucas, would probably be guys that you might have to trade up for, okay? Is it worth trading up for these guys? What would it cost? This is going to be a big question tonight, right? And I think I got an answer at the top of my mind that can address this. What would it cost for the Chargers to trade back into the second round? Of course, we do not have a second round pick this season. It was traded away for Khalil Mack. If we want to get back in there and select one of these, premier players that have fallen into the second round, I think it more than likely is going to take our second round pick next season, okay? You would have to bundle that with maybe a 4th or 5th round pick this year, maybe a 3rd if you really want to, jump a lot of people in the second round. I think if you bundled next year's 2nd and this year's 3rd, you can get to the top of the second round. If you bundle next year's 2nd with this year's 4th or 5th, we're talking like we could be in play for maybe picks 43 to 48, somewhere in the middle. With that in mind, I think it's something that the Chargers could definitely explore this season. Again, the Chargers are just, 1 or 2 positions away from really feeling good. And then we've got 8 draft picks in day 3 to address depth. So is it worth trading up for? I think this could be the case today, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some of my guys that I think are worth trading up for, not even outside of offensive line. But we're going to start with Bernard Raimann here, okay? I love Bernard Raimann. Raimann, to me, is a fringe round 1 prospect. in some ways, I would view him as more of a value because you got, what, Evan Neal and Ike Ekwamu. And you think of those guys as ready day one players. Everybody else, I feel like, it's a shot in the dark. But right tackle is certainly not as vital as left tackle. So you can take a shot in the dark with a guy like Bernhard Raimann. With him falling into the second round, I think he's one of those guys that the Chargers could definitely trade up for. He may be a target for this team. I'm probably a little bit higher on Raimann. I think he could be a year one impact player. Certainly, you could still sign a veteran to come in and help transition him into the league. But I think Raimann, again, all he needs to be for the Chargers is serviceable. He's playing next to some incredible talent along the rest of those positions on the offensive line. Raimann, to me, would be the final piece of that puzzle of rebuilding this Chargers line to being one of the best in the league. Maybe it takes a little bit of time for him to transition, but that would be fine. When I say the transition, I think he did play left tackle in college, but I do think he carries all the traits to be a pretty decent right tackle in the league. So Bernhard Raimann would be my first target. After that, surprisingly, Andrew Booth falls into the second round as well. Booth, to me, dude, at one point, Booth, I think, was like a top 7 player on my board. This dude is nasty. There is some concern via injury and stuff like that, which may have something to do with why he has fallen into the second round. But without a doubt, I think Andrew Booth is one of the best players still available in round 2. The Chargers really do want another cornerback. We know this. Brandon Staley has been harping, all offseason long that you can't have enough corners. And at one point, we were really talking about Derek Stingley, right? There's been a lot of buzz about Kyler Gordon. Again, I think it was the guilty as charged guys that were able to drop that news a couple of days ago. I don't think I would have been on Gordon in, round 1, pick 17. But certainly in the second round, if the Chargers decide to trade up, Andrew Booth, to me, dude, big, physical, press man corner. Same thing could be said about Kyler Gordon. I'll actually go ahead and put Kyler Gordon up here because you can kind of bundle these two together, right? These guys would be worth trading up for, in my opinion. What it would cost is likely next year's second and this year's third, but what you're getting is a year one impact guy. Once again, Andrew Booth, Kyler Gordon. You think about these guys lining up next to J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel. You got Derwin James and Sear Adderley up there too. That would be wildly insane. Now, again, these are rookies. There's no guarantee that they're going to pop off, but man, do they fit what the Chargers need. We need a little bit more size, and I do think the Chargers are looking to add a little bit more press man to their system. And I do feel like both these guys, Kyler Gordon, Andrew Booth, are definitely worth trading up for. But the last thing I'll mention before moving on to my guys is that Andrew Booth, to me, is a no question, worth trading up for candidate in this draft. And he's the best corner left in this, I should say right now in the second round. And this corner class right now, available in the second round, is going to allow Andrew Booth to likely be selected first and push down Kyler Gordon just a little bit, even if it's just a pick or two, which means if the Chargers really are targeting Kyler Gordon via trading up, it's not going to cost as much as a Andrew Booth. What I would likely do is wait for Andrew Booth to get selected and then try and trade up to the very next pick. If that team doesn't bite, then oh well, we can stick at pick number 79 in the third round. But this is not a bad idea, man. Kyler Gordon to the Chargers in a trade up scenario, I would say it could cost next year's second and a third this year, or next year's second and a fourth this year. That would be worth it to me. I think the upside of this guy in this system, playing with our specific scheme and the players that we have established now, would be a very, very, very nice selection for the Chargers. Additionally, Christian Watson still on the board. This one was actually very surprising to me. I was honestly in shock on behalf of the Green Bay fans this season that they did not go wide receiver. I thought, okay, they went Quay Walker with their first round pick. A bit of a reach in my opinion, but at the same time, it wasn't wide receiver. I was like, okay, they're probably saving that for the 28th overall. They probably find more value in Christian Watson there. They didn't take him there either. They took a defensive lineman. And I feel like Christian Watson would have been a really good selection for them. And he's not, he's still on the board here in day 2. I think this would be a great trade-up candidate for the Chargers as well. If they really do value that speed at wide receiver, Christian Watson, 6'4", he ran an insane 40, very fast. This would be a definite win for the Chargers if they do decide to trade up this season again. Christian Watson, again, he's probably pretty high on a lot of people's lists going into day 2, so he would likely require next year's second and this year's third. And then finally, I got another defensive lineman here in Travis Jones. Travis Jones, to me, this class of defensive linemen, not as deep as years I've seen before. Of course, there's a couple of guys still worth mentioning. Travis Jones, Fedarian Mathis. I like Daniel Farrell a lot too, but there's really a lot fewer prospects that I think are going to thrive at the next level. I think Travis Jones is one of those guys, if they really want to solidify that defensive line, help against the run, that's a guy worth trading up for as well. But in terms of what I think is going to happen, okay, and what maybe my preference would be, I think the Chargers maybe stay put and select their first player at pick number 79 in round 3 today. Okay, so when it comes to saying put at number 79, here are the guys that I'm thinking. Okay, we're going to bundle some guys together here. So Abraham Lucas and Daniel Filele are 2 guys that I think maybe reach the Chargers at pick number 79. There's a chance you may have to trade up a little bit into the, higher in the 3rd round to get them, but they could be available there. And you could think a lot of the same things in terms of like Bernard Raimann, being the right tackle, trading up to get him. I think Raimann would be more ready to play this season, but Abraham Lucas, Daniel Filele, you sign one of these guys, you trade up, you sign them at 79, and you sign a vet right tackle to, swap with them and help transition them into the NFL. I'm feeling really good about these guys. Both of these guys, I would say Abraham Lucas has like your traditional measurements. He could definitely develop into a very solid right tackle with a little bit of time. He's definitely my preference. Daniel Filele, on the other hand, I should have gotten a picture of him too, man. Filele is a massive human being, 6'8", pushing 400 pounds. It's a little bit risky taking guys like that because, again, they could get spun out. They could definitely not keep up with these, speedy edge players, especially in the AFC West. But just the sheer size of that guy definitely does intrigue me. So if the Chargers decide to go right tackle, there should be options at pick number 79. Now, when it comes to the position of wide receiver, there are some really, really good players here that I would love the Chargers to take a shot on, okay? Tyquan Thornton probably being one of my top preferences in day 2 in round 3, okay? Thornton, of course, is the guy who ran the fastest 40 at the Combine this season. I think a sub 4.3. It was like a 4.28 or something like that. Ridiculously fast. Instantly, Thornton would be the fastest player on this Chargers roster. He is very, very good. But the reason I've been so high on Thornton lately is because he's proven to me that he can be more than speed. And when it comes to speed wide receivers in the NFL, you got to do more than that, right? When coming into the NFL from a college, perspective, you have to be able to offer more than just speed, and that kind of spells success to me at the next level. Guys like John Ross, certainly, other players very recently, just don't stick around very long because they don't have as impressive of a route tree. Their hands are probably questionable. That can definitely cause a player to not find as much success at the next level. Tyquan Thornton, to me, I saw pretty decent hands. I saw a more expansive route tree than I was expecting. So to me, if the Chargers, after missing out on, let's say like a Jameson Williams in round 1, the consolation prize to me would be Thornton, and I would be extremely happy with Thornton, who, again, would offer so much to Justin Herbert and his very unique arm. Justin Herbert, one of the most powerful throwing arms in the NFL, could get enough distance on that ball to really take a guy like Thornton and mold him into one of the bigger deep threats in the NFL. You could also bundle Calvin Austin into that too. I don't know if Calvin makes it into the 2nd or into the 3rd round, but if he's there, he would definitely be one that I'm excited about. Next up, we've got D'Angelo Malone, who to me, Malone might be the best fit in terms of players available for the Chargers' edge 3 position, okay? He definitely would fit this scheme like a glove. He would offer a lot of value in a rotational role instantly in 2022. He's one of the guys I definitely have my eye on in round 3 if available. When it comes to cornerback, we got a couple of guys on here, Tariq Woolen and Zion McCollum. Both of these guys, physically, that's what we're trying to add to this team. A little bit more stature, a little bit more physicality, a little bit of upside and press man. I like both of these guys quite a bit, okay? I think Tariq Woolen ran a ridiculous 40, something like 4.33, 4.34. He stands at 6'4". This would be one of the more unique guys to go after in round 3, and a guy who carries such unique physical attributes and speed that our coaching staff would have a lot of fun figuring out how to utilize him. He would be a great depth corner for this team. And then Zion McCollum, too. I think I'm a little higher on him in terms of talent, in terms of coverage, but at the same time, very fast, very tall. These are the guys that we want. And then finally, I think the Chargers, once again, very serious about running back, too. I would be very interested to see if they're in on another running back in round 3, but me personally, I would wait until day 3 for, rounds 4 through 7 to pick up a guy like that. But dudes like Dameon Pierce, Brian Robinson could be in play for the Chargers a little bit earlier than we thought because, again, running back 2, I don't know, how much I've heard that they want to go after this position, but I know what my eyes told me last season. They want a guy behind Austin Eckler. They gave pretty much every depth running back option on this roster a chance at taking that position last year. I don't know if anybody took it. I don't know if anybody earned it. So the Chargers may be looking to add a running back a little bit earlier than we expect in the draft, and it could be tonight. So guys, let me know in the comment section below what you think of these day 2 prospects. Are you willing to trade up for maybe one of these guys? Bernard Raimann, Andrew Booth, Kyler Gordon? Let me know in the comment section below. But when all said and done, I think the Chargers would probably be wise to stick down, at pick number 79, try and find some value there. And then again, keep free agents in the back of your minds. If the Chargers decide to go anything but offensive linemen in the 3rd or 4th round, definitely make sure you've got, Darrell Williams, Riley Reeves, Dennis Kelly's, phone numbers on speed dial so we can get these guys on the roster hopefully the day after the draft. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been the Director. Make sure you guys hit us up tonight. We're going to go live about half an hour before round 2 starts. We're going to be very much so anticipating, do the Chargers trade up? Do they stay put? And hope to see some very nice talent fall into the 3rd round. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been the Director. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up and stay frosty. Zion Johnson, guys, get hyped about it. He's going to be such a big impact player for the Chargers in 2022.